Hi everyone. Am I audible and visible? Can I please get a mic check if I'm audible and visible? All right. I
Yes,
request
yes, you're
everyone
audible.
to please turn their cameras on. Our speaker is here. Can we please have everyone turn their cameras on? I request all the participants to please turn their cameras on. Our speaker is here. We really appreciate your patience, everyone. All right, we'll wait for a couple of minutes for everyone to turn their cameras on. I request everyone to please turn their cameras on and also mute themselves in case they have unmuted themselves. All right, I think we are good to go. We have a speaker with us today. All right. I hope I'm audible and visible. Can I please get a last check?
Yes,
All right. Thank you so much. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Tanishka Tomar, the Vice President of the Madhya Pradesh Judicial Reforms Council, on behalf of the entire team of the Madhya Pradesh Judicial Reforms Council, welcomes all of you wholeheartedly to the webinar organized on the World Mental Health Day themed Mind Matters, exploring the nexus of current lifestyle and the socio-legal perspective of the mental health. Firstly, before we get into the event and its formalities, I would like to welcome the esteemed keynote speaker of our today's event, Ms. Dyutima Sharma. Dyutima ma'am, we are so delighted that you have accepted our invitation and that we have you here. Thank you so much. Additionally, we would like to thank all of you who are here attending and participating in the webinar. We were too overwhelmed, honestly, to see a huge number of registrations for the webinar, that too in a very short span of time. We really hope that the webinar is fruitful for everyone attending it. Moving ahead, I would here like to introduce our council before all of you. Madhya Pradesh Judicial Reforms Council, that is MPJRC, is a state council formed under the National Judicial Reforms Council, which is further established under a bigger umbrella of WICCI, that is Women's Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. MPJRC was established in the month of June 2023 and has been actively involved in spreading legal awareness since then. As a part of the Council's objective of reforming the society through the field of law and advocate for rights of all, this webinar is a furtherance of the very own commitment of the Council towards societal upliftment and bringing changes through discussion. And thus, we are here with the very first webinar of the Council, which is themed Mind Matters, exploring the nexus of current lifestyle and the socio-legal perspective of the mental health. Now, we understand that all of you are too eager to hear our speaker. And so, I would here invite the President of the Madhya Pradesh Judicial Reforms Council, Ms. Nupur, to introduce all of us to Ms. Dyutima Sharma so that we can begin the session.
Thank you so much, Tanishka. A very good afternoon to everyone present here and a very warm welcome to Dyutima ma'am. Ma'am, we're extremely happy to have you here today with us. So to introduce ma'am, Dyutima ma'am is a clinical psychologist and she has been in the field for over 6 years now. Apart from that, she is also co-founder of Orange Owl Percepts. She is the Madhya Pradesh first trauma-focused psychologist therapist and also mindfulness trainer, a Reiki healer, and a storyteller. The way ma'am has been adding value to the lives of people who are associated with her is really unparalleled. If there existed a way to define how balanced a human could be when it comes to making someone feel belonged and at the same time coming up with practical solutions, there could be no better justifications than her. Ma'am, I would say she really endures a brilliant knowledge of the field and is no less a wonder when it comes to healing with humans. Her positive aura, the warmth in her positive personality creates an extraordinary impact on everyone she meets. We are sure that the webinar would be extremely insightful session for every one of you and for the fact that ma'am never ceases to amaze. So with this, I'll just hand over the stage to Tanishka to move forward with the webinar.
Thank you, Nupur. Honestly speaking, I have known Dyutima ma'am now for past 2 years, and one thing I can really vouch upon is that she is a wonderful human being. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I hand over the mic to Ms. Dyutima Sharma ma'am to begin with our today's session. Also, please note this is for all the participants that we would be having a question and answer session towards the end of the discussion to accommodate everyone's doubt. Thank you. Over to you, Dyutima ma'am.
Thank you so much. I think this is the first time that I'm hearing so good things about myself on such a platform. I'm really glad. I'm really happy that I could add value and it is seen also. So thank you so much. Hello, welcome to this webinar, and I'm glad to see so many people. Namrata is already raising hands. I wonder why. We will take up questions, and sometimes I will ask questions, so you can respond on chat because there are a lot of people, and I would like to give a chance to everybody. I don't want to curve anyone, but also respecting time. I have to.
I'll interrupt you, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'll just remind this to the participants again that we'll be accommodating all of your doubts, queries that you have in the later part of the session. So, we'll make sure that ma'am gets enough time to keep her thoughts, and then we can move forward to the doubts. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, let's get on to the topic. Suddenly, I was, burdened with a lot of work today because of the World Mental Health Day, and I'm very excited about this day of the whole year because this is the day where everybody is mostly receptive, and this is the day when we, spread awareness with full enthusiasm. It's like it's our festival for psychologists. It is. So I'm really, really glad that I'm here and people are able to, when the webinar will end. Already very curious, huh? Maybe in 30 minutes or 40 minutes, let's see. When I saw this topic, socio-legal perspective of mental health, it's like, 3 subjects coming together, very interdisciplinary, and, picking up 3 subjects and talking about it in only 30-40 minutes. I'm like, what will I talk about? So let's see. Social, society, people, connection, okay, legal, law, you guys. I'm glad I'm sitting in front of you guys because I'll be able to tell a lot of things which you can bring a change in. So I'm really hopeful when I'm talking to you. And there is a lot of need of change. Sometimes there is no want because people are not aware, but there is need always a need. And you know what? I believe that we are living in such a time where slowly and gradually we are bringing revolution in this realm of mental health. We are revolutionaries, but हमको बस दिखाई नहीं देता है that we हल्ला गुल्ला कर रहे हैं. Yeah. So Mental health, this word comes from the subject psychology, there is sociology, and there's law. And I think there are a lot of people who are coming from the law background, right, in this webinar, if I'm not wrong. So anybody who would like to answer this question of mine can write in it. Do you know which profession? Namrata, you're raising hands again and again, and that is, a little disturbing for me. Please, if you can be mindful of that. So the question is, which profession is bridging the gap between law and psychology? It's quiz time. Type your answers fast. Let's see who answers. ADR mechanisms. No. Mediation. More of law. No. Any more trials? Try arbitration. Counselor, no, we don't. Health laws, again, laws. Counseling session and teachers. So I found the answer in NCRT book of 11th class of psychology, where they were telling us about all the other subjects which are linked with psychology, and there I found forensic psychologists. So जो आप बोल रहे हो यहाँ पे, if can I use Hindi also in between, or are people?
Yeah, ma'am, you can be bilingual. You can.
Okay. So maybe जो आप mediation की बात कर रहे हो, DRC की बात कर रहे हो, this could be the thing. It is definitely an applied field. But forensic psychology, I found that yes, it's a bridge between law and psychology, because they study law, they study psychology and mental health, and then they communicate between the two subjects and they're experts. So अगर आप कभी उनसे बात कर पाए तो मजा ही आ जाएगा आपको. But for now, I would like to bring a few things in front of you today, and those are, I have seen that there is a change in criminal justice system when it comes to, we have paid attention to human rights, and we have brought changes so that people can live as humans. But there is a lot of need to change, to bring more of awareness and reforms in this area. Do you know that there is a direct link between people who end up in prison and their poor mental health? There was a study done called aegis, adverse childhood effects. This is a questionnaire जिसमें कुछ लिस्ट किए गए. There were some adverse childhood experiences which were listed, and which were these questions were given to a lot of prisoners. I think this was done in US. काफी सारे, I think 1990s में ये study हुई थी, और वहाँ पे पाया गया कि a lot of prisoners, around 85% prisoners, had something or the other adverse childhood experience in their past life as in childhood. And normally when it was applied to a controlled population, as in people who do not end up in prisons, it was found that maybe around 45% of people have one or two such experiences. Prisoners में ज़्यादातर 6 या उससे ज़्यादा experiences पाए गए जो adverse childhood experiences थे. Now, what are those experiences? Let me just list down a few. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, separation, death of a parent or a sibling, domestic violence, alcohol or drugs usage in the family, abandonment, or long-term health issues. Can you be a little slow? I didn't get you. I mean, I am already very slow and retarded in that sense.
Yeah, I think there could be some network issue at his side. I mean, I think the pace is fine for everyone.
Okay. So, yeah. So all these experiences have a link. They are linked with mental health issues. And there are a lot of people who end up in prison because they develop some or the other mental health issue. But in our criminal justice system, we actually totally not see it. We do not see it. What do we see? I would like to know what words do lawyers use when they are talking about mental health. I mean, what is written in the law? What words do you really follow? Sound, unsound, mind, sane, insane, sanity, correct, yes. And, sometimes lunatic also, but yeah, I think that has changed. What else? Shasha, thanks. Yeah. Uh-huh. Unsound mind, lunatic. That's it. As if there are only two categories. Only two categories. But you know what? Mental health is a continuum, just like physical health. WHO says that mere absence of disease or illness is not health. Health is represented by these three things: physical, emotional, and social. Compulsive, really, do we use this in law? I mean, is this a legal term that we use, compulsive? Seems like it's a mental health term, obsessive compulsive disorder. I don't know what alone compulsive means. Can you please explain that, Prakriti? Or maybe anyone else who would like to bring me to the same page? So, till then, I'll say, you can type. Sometimes in no, I'm not talking about layman language. I know layman language these days is much more informed than law or legal language. So that's what we need to do, right? Bring some changes, bring some new words. If mental health is a continuum and their absence of disease is not the indicator of good health, what is? Question to be thought upon. With ACE, adverse childhood experiences, I want to bring something forward, and that is traumatic events which affects a person, their life in a lot of terms. These traumatic events, separation is, it's a traumatic event. Violence is a traumatic event. Abuse is a traumatic event. Even witnessing, if a child's mother is going through violence, domestic violence, sexual violence, and physical abuse and all, what will happen? The child is a witness
Every day they are witnessing this. What happens? The child is only living in survival mode and believing that the world is such. It's a violent, unsafe place. Imagine what kind of belief system would that child have. क्या सोचेगा वो, क्या करेगा वो, किस तरह से बिहेव करेगा, क्या वो ओपनली बात कर पाएगा, क्या बड़े कंपैशन के लोगों से डील कर पाएगा, क्या वो समझ पाएगा कि किसी का अगर कोई किसी ने शो अप नहीं किया या कोई गुस्से में है तो इट्स नॉट अबाउट हिम, इट मे बी समथिंग अबाउट देम आल्सो, मे बी उनका पहले से खाना नहीं मिला इसलिए शायद गुस्से में. नो, दिस पर्सन वुड have a lot of erroneous thinking. They'll be personalizing a lot of things and then reacting to all of that. They'll be very defensive. And defense हम कैसे करते हैं? या तो हम भागते हैं या हम फाइट करते हैं, और वो फिर क्रिमिनल एक्टिविटीज में कब कन्वर्ट हो जाता है पता नहीं चलता. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm not saying कि ना इन लोगों के साथ empathy रखिए, प्यार से बात कीजिए and all, because they have seen the world as a dangerous place. They will be very dangerous. They can be very dangerous also. So I'm not saying that you should be protectionist. You should not be taking care of yourself. You should definitely take care of yourself. But when it comes to reforms, when they've been proved that they were guilty and they were sent to prison, they are sent to prison, what do we do after that? क्या हम उनका ट्रीटमेंट करवाते हैं? नहीं करवाते, क्योंकि वो उनको प्रूव ही नहीं हुए ना कि वो इंसेन है. इंसेन का मतलब क्या है? साइकोसिस को हम ज्यादातर इंसेन मानते हैं. साइकोसिस में तो हैलुसिनेशन, डिल्यूजन, ये और न्यूरोटिक डिसऑर्डर्स का क्या? पर्सनालिटी डिसऑर्डर्स का क्या? There is one personality disorder which is standing on the verge of neurotic and psychotic. Now, what is neurotic and psychotic? Neurotic disorders means they are in touch with reality, like anxiety, depression. But psychosis, इसके अंदर क्या आता है? Schizophrenia, delusional disorder. इसमें रियलिटी से कट है इंसान, उसको कुछ पता ही नहीं है, सही गलत का नहीं पता. That is why we put them into these two categories. But sometimes when people are on the border of neurosis and psychosis, the borderline personality disorder, they sometimes lose control. They do get dissociated. Sometimes they don't even remember that they did this. That this dissociation is also a continuum. Traumatic events, people knowingly or unknowingly, they get dissociated when they are facing a traumatic event so that they can survive. Their mind is doing so without their control. Dissociation का मतलब क्या है? They get differentiated, they get separated from their self. And this happens because there is a need of survival. There is a lot of biology involved in this. To make things easier to understand, I would like to tell you a story. There was a deer and there was a tiger. तो जो हिरन है उसको, वो पानी पी रहा था और टाइगर ने देखा उसको चुपके से पीछे से, उसका शिकार करने के लिए जाता है. और वो जो हिरन है वो अपने आप को बचाना चाहता है, वो भागता है, भागते भागते कहाँ चला जाता है? अब वो एक नई जगह पे जा चुका है. एट द एंड क्या होता है? उसके आगे ऐसा खड़ा पहाड़ है, वो नहीं चढ़ पा रहा है, और नीचे एकदम खाई है, वो नीचे भी नहीं जा पाएगा. आगे खाई पीछे कुआं वाली स्थिति हो गई है उसकी. एंड स्लोली दिस डियर फेंट्स, गिर जाता है
नीचे पड़ा हो जाता है और शेर उसको सूंघ रहा होता है, ये इसको क्या हो गया, मैं तो भी अटैक भी नहीं किया, ये कैसे बेहोश हो गई, उसको एंजाइटी हो गई थी एक्चुअली, पैनिक अटैक आ गया था इतना ज्यादा कि वो कंट्रोल लूज कर गया और पड़ गया। नाउ शेर ने सोचा कि इसने कुछ जहरीली पत्तियां या कुछ जहरीला पानी वानी तो नहीं पिया ना जिसकी वजह से इसको कुछ हो गया और मैंने इसको खाया तो मुझे हो जाएगा। सो दैट्स हाउ शेर ने चूज किया, चला जाता है। लेकिन ये सर्वाइवल रिस्पॉन्स इसलिए नहीं था, कई बार शिकारी ऐसा नहीं करते, लेकिन फिर भी डियर फ्रीज हो जाता है, या चूहा बिल्ली दिखा है, चूहा भी फ्रीज हो जाता है। फ्रीज क्यों होते हैं? Because there's a center in the brain which tells the danger is so close, so big, and so dangerous that you won't survive at all. So give up. This giving up helps the brain to release such hormones and chemicals which numb the organism. And then, though that numbness helps in not feeling the pain while getting eaten raw, that is dissociation. दिमाग को, माइंड को पता ही नहीं चला कि हम खाए जा रहे हैं, कोई तरीके से बेहोश हो चुके हैं, अब दर्द कम होगा। तो सॉरी टू गिव दिस पिक्चर टू यू, हाँ, बट this happens. This is also a survival response. In traumatic situations, during facing the traumatic events, a lot of people, not all, but some people, they do go through such freezing response, which, I don't know, helps, or what do I say? They dissociate. And then they, I won't say dissociative personality disorder हो जाता है और वो एक अलग personality बन जाते हैं, उसकी बात नहीं कर रही हूँ। बट ऐसा होता है कि हम सर्वाइव करने के लिए कई बार अपने आप से उस सिचुएशन से अलग करना पड़ता है, और ऐसा फिर ये डिनायल में भी कन्वर्ट होता है, नहीं मेरे साथ नहीं हुआ। लेकिन वो जो डिसइंटीग्रेशन हुआ ना, उसको इंटीग्रेट करना वापस से पॉसिबल नहीं होता है आसानी से, और कई बार लोग उस ट्रॉमेटिक मेमोरी में फंस जाते हैं लंबे समय तक। और हम सबको मालूम है कि ये एडवर्स चाइल्डहुड एक्सपीरियंसेस जिनका मैंने नाम लिया, ये हमारे कल्चर में कितने प्रेवलेंट है, कितने फिजिकल अब्यूज, सेक्सुअल अब्यूज, वर्बल अब्यूज, इमोशनल अब्यूज का तो नाम ही नहीं है, सेपरेशन, exposure to substances, witnessing domestic violence, abandonment. So, if this is so prevalent and if it is affecting people's mental health like anything, more than 70% people are going through traumatic events, and we have found prisoners having these more than 6 such experiences, different experiences. How should we deal with them? I would like to bring compassionate, trauma-informed systems in the reforms. So my question is to you now, after knowing this, what should be done? Okay, let me give you some hints. Trauma-informed systems, how do they look like? Yeah. Let me show you one PDF that I've got, which will make things easier. Yeah. So this is what I explained. Individual trauma results from an event, series of events, or set of circumstances that is experienced by an individual as physically or emotionally harmful
or threatening, and that has lasting adverse effects on the individual's functioning and physical, social, and emotional or spiritual well-being. Yeah? It, it is a threat and survival. So, if we want to bring up trauma-informed programs, reform systems, we need to bring these 10 things. How do we do that? Recognize the impact. First thing, acceptance, acknowledgement that there could have been some impact of violence or victimization on these people. Recovery is the primary goal. Empowerment is what we are looking for. So, emphasize voice or choice, stress relational collaboration, recognize the need for safety and respect, minimize re-traumatization. And what do we do? Do we re-traumatize? If we are sending them to prison, and what happens in the prison? I'm not saying punishments mat do, but what happens in prisons? Are they safe from re-traumatization? No, they get bullied. They get labels. They even face a lot of abuse of different kinds. So, are we mindful of that? These are my questions. So, this is about a criminal justice system and looking at people who end up in prisons from trauma lens. But one more thing I would like to bring is, if we build up a society which is trauma informed, which is careful, compassionate, which is strong enough to have the individuals who can have healthy boundaries themselves. Wow, what a wonderful world that would be, right? I would like to bring changes in mental health realm from as a psychologist also. I would like to demand things from you. In the field of law, you know what? I have worked in national institutes, and one of national institutes, I up to some senior positions. I'm trying to be less and less controversial here. So one of them was holding the power to not give me an opportunity to talk to a lot of students together, because I want to address a lot of students there and prevent a lot of things, like to build up sleep hygiene or how to manage stress, etc., in a setting. But it was so difficult. He said that mental health, आप ये words का use करोगे तो no one will come. Nothing happens. They are just making no excuses. Depression is nothing. And, I'm like, what will I tell him about trauma then if he doesn't understand depression? Then later, I wanted some leaves because handling so many people together, 7 or 8 sessions every day. That means continuous work of 7 or 8 hours. I was experiencing compassion fatigue. I was burnt out. So if mental health professionals are working throughout the day for long hours, even they can go through burnouts
and fatigue, compassion fatigue. So this is what I experienced, and I said, I want a holiday. I want leave so that I can take care of myself. Occupation does that, right? But what came to my mind then? It was very difficult for him to allow me to go, and I asked for the request. I requested. This person said, "No, you can't go. In fact, if you're free, if you can afford a leave, you must sit here and do some clerical work, help our clerks." This person doesn't understand mental health. This person doesn't understand depression. I cannot expect him to understand compassion fatigue, which I gave in written that no, I'm suffering from this and I want to go. So ultimately क्या हुआ, मेरी छुट्टी तो कटी और ज़्यादा छुट्टियाँ ले ली थी तो पैसे भी कट गए. ज़्यादा छुट्टी मतलब 5 days. There I went on a retreat to help myself for the self-care. So I want मुझे इतनी changes चाहिए system में. I want holidays for myself, more holidays. अरे हम लोग menstrual leave से लड़ रहे हैं अभी तो. Mental health professionals के लिए self care की leave कब आएगी? Mental health professionals are also fighting for good pay. लोगों को लगता है, जनरल लोगों को लगता है कि हम सिर्फ बात कर रहे हैं. बात करने के पैसे थोड़ी लगते हैं. सब बात करते हैं. हम बात करने के पैसे नहीं लेते. We hold a lot of different perspectives. Client's perspective, our perspective, general people's perspective who are there around them. We always keep on learning about their signs and symptoms and their progress or deterioration. We use a lot of therapeutic techniques, so all of this is scientific. So how come? तो हमें वहां तक जाना है. हम अभी prisoners की बात कर रहे थे, हम professionals की बात कर रहे हैं. Everybody is suffering. Mental health is a human right, and it's a neutral term first of all. When I asked some people, "What is mental health?" Tell me. I was giving training somewhere. I said, "What is mental health?" This person says, "मैम जो आदमी mental होता है वो ऐसा होता है, वो वैसा होता है." जो आदमी mental होता है, mental तो मैं भी हूँ. I have a mind. All of the people who have mind, all of those who have mind are mental. In that sense, mental health is as good as physical health, social health, financial health. All this is part of our well-being. So why to neglect this? Just because of stigmas? Because maybe the previous or uske pehle ka generation, they couldn't understand what mental health is. So I would like to rest my voice with just 2 sentences of conclusion. The first is mental health and its issues are lying in a continuum. They are not explicit or discrete. They are not in 2 categories. There is no black and white. There is a lot of gray, more than 50 shades of gray. And we need trauma-informed systems. And this 1 hour won't make you trauma-informed. There's a lot which you need to learn about trauma. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. It's really amazing to hear you always. And it's actually very nice to see how you have touched upon a number of topics at the same time. In the very initial part, we were talking about the health of the mental health of the prisoners. I mean, the psychology behind that. And then we came on to the other aspects of our life, the lifestyle thing, and then the how to deal with it, and also how the professionals are suffering. So before we move on to the question and answer session for all the participants, I'm very curious, since you told about how, like, why exactly do people commit offense? I mean, how they have been accustomed to different kinds of abuse in the very childhood. So I'm very curious to know that do we really expect something in the coming years that would really change our system? Like, what all things, apart from all these mechanisms that you are telling me, what are we as an individual, what can we do on our part? So let's suppose if some person has suffered some kind of childhood abuse, so the tendency would grow into a healthier deep personality. I mean, do we expect something like this in the near future?
Such a beautiful question. There are about 100 people here, and I would say 70 people have faced some or the other traumatic event in their life. So I would say charity begins from home. Start healing your own self. The moment you will start healing your own self, you'll be able to get aware about your emotions, feelings, patterns, and how to break them, how to cope up, how to build healthy strategies for yourself. And this may require you to go to a therapist who would then help you to grow even better. I mean, going to a psychologist is not an indicator of you having a bad mental health, but it is an indicator that you are looking for personal growth. This is what we all have been doing since the start of our lives. So start with your own self. Learn about mental health more and more. Enroll in courses like trauma-informed care or systems. How can we develop that? And I think that would be enough for you to bring necessary changes which are needed in the current life. And maybe this is that generation which will bring a lot of great changes. So this is I can see a lot of changes coming in. Otherwise, इससे पहले तो we never heard of trauma other than PTSD, which was happening because of happening to war veterans and all.
Yeah. I think day by day people are getting aware, and yeah, as you told, as you have mentioned, that it's about like how we can bring change. It's the very small steps that how we look up to the people around us, how compassionate we are. All right, we really hope that all of us actually be involved into this. All right, thank you so much for
answering. What,
this
Tanishka? How compassionate we are, that comes later, but how aware we are about our own selves and about our community, and what are the triggers, and how people get so defensive or attacking, even that would help a lot. At least you'll be able to see yourself separately from others, and yet you'll be able to be available for them. अगर हम अपने आप में इतना सिक्योर हैं तो फिर हम दूसरों की हेल्प कर सकते हैं. और फिर हम चेंज ला सकते हैं.
Exactly, but I have also heard people like saying, I'm not a psychologist, I haven't studied psychology, so how do I understand your defense mechanism? How do I understand what is your trigger point? So I think this is the awareness that has to be brought about ourselves and about the people in general. All right, thank you for answering this, ma'am. Here we would like to open the audience to ask their questions and doubts if they have any. The audience can simply also unmute themselves and ask the questions one by one. Priyanshi Chaudhary, you have raised a doubt. Yeah, we can accommodate your doubt.
Hi, ma'am. I wanted to ask that how can we justify a crime done by a person just on the basis that he had suffered something like that? And how can we
hear you properly, Priyanshi? Your voice is quite low.
Is it audible now, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that how can we justify a person's crime just based on a fact that he must have faced something that was traumatic to him when he was a child or maybe an adult, and he did that crime in that as a result or consequence of that trauma?
First of all, crime is not the indicator that uska kuch childhood trauma hua. There's only maybe 80% or 45% chance. Itna vary karta hai, first of all. So when there is no 100% guarantee, we cannot justify that. We have to go to the past history. But it's not your not lawyers' work to do that and have empathy, sympathy, and all. But सी पनिशमेंट तो देना पड़ेगा, उसको सिर्फ छोड़ थोड़ी सकते हैं अगर क्राइम किया है तो. If you're saying justification of that, but what I'm really trying to bring here is आप उसमें changes कैसे ला सकते हो जिससे कि वो एक healthy citizen बन सके. For that we need reforms when this person is in the prison. Am I able to understand your and answer your question, or was your question different from what I understood?
Ma'am, I got it.
Thank you, Priyanshi. Who do we have next? Rohan Das. Ji. Rohan, we can't hear you if you are on. Are you on mute? Rohan, can you please fix your mic? By then we'll take someone else's doubt. Ma'am, since long time I remember Anku Sharma was writing that how to deal with the pressure during the preparation of competitive exams. I mean, this is something that, we have a lot of youngsters here and who are preparing for a number of exams. So I think if you could take this out of.
Yeah, so I would just say that, take care of your daily routine, and daily routine doesn't mean that you have to start studying right after you got up and study till the time you get back to sleep. This is what we have been told probably, but sharpening your X is something that you need to do. Your X, sharpening your X, that means your brain, your mind. If you're able to, make sure that it is healthy, it will help you. So, first of all, learn stress management techniques and allow yourself to be in leisure time, me time. Allow yourself to express yourself. If there are people in your life who won't judge you at all, be with them, talk to them, express your needs, your feelings, whatever. But बस यही ध्यान रखना है that you make sure that you have a good sleep hygiene, waking up on time, sleeping in time, and with nature, synchronize the body with the nature, having nutritional food, having supportive people around, having a lot of physical exercise that is good for you, so that they can keep your hormones and chemical balance. वरना chemical लोचा होने में देर नहीं लगेगी. So that, yeah.
So it's basically a balance between both of the things. It's about work and how you treat yourself personally.
Right. And also build resilience. See, if you desire to achieve something, but if it is not coming in your net, if it is not possible for you, maybe, तो हार नहीं माननी है. Maybe you can be somewhere else. Just like Amitabh Bachchan got rejected by SSB, he wanted to be in the army. He got rejected. Now he's doing so well. Oh, thank God he got rejected.
Absolutely, yeah. We have found a gem like him in the Bollywood. Yeah, ma'am, I have a quick question. Can we accommodate 1-2 more questions if you have time, because it's already 5?
Sure,
Okay,
sure. We have a lot of questions in the chat also, I guess.
Yeah, we had questions in the chat box, but we have also put this in the feedback form that whatever loud questions people can have, we can pick that up later on. So I think we can have Rohan now. Rohan, I think your mic is fixed.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you are. Go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. So my question is, how can the law best respond to a child who has committed a crime while suffering from a neurotic disorder?
Suffering from a neurotic disorder. How do you know that this was neurotic? To address a child, you need to have people who are working with children, especially child psychologists, play therapists, who
who can understand this child's psychology, and who can easily find out कि reason क्या है. They must have been exposed to a lot of violence and abuse, which made them such. मुझे तो लगता है इसकी बहुत ज्यादा क्या बोलते हैं इसको chances हैं कि he must have gone through something very difficult in that, क्योंकि बच्चे ऐसे नहीं usually करते. If there is some biological reasons, even then we need to deal with them in a trauma-informed way. Trauma-informed way means not first of all re-traumatizing, dealing with compassion, and of course your own safety should be there. So, and not only children, but also their parents must be interviewed, and their lifestyle and everything must be taken into consideration to understand this child psychology. And they should be sent into rehabilitation centers where they can get help of maybe whatever different kinds of help they would require. And is there any more doubt in this question, because it's very wide kind of.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the question is like punishment. Giving punishment is necessary, but at the same time, to ensure that the child gets protected with its treatment, like how is that possible by side, like getting a punishment and also like getting treated?
तो पहले तो हम ये देखें कि हमें क्या जरूरत है, हमको क्या सच में उसको पनिशमेंट देने की जरूरत है क्या, उसे पहले अंडरस्टैंड करने की, पहले तो मुझसे पूछे ना कि व्हाट हैपेंड बेटा, समथिंग डिस्टर्ब्ड यू.
Ma'am, like the crime was serious, so punishment, giving punishment.
So you understand why. Before giving a punishment, understand why. I know it's not your work maybe, but even if following the law procedure, if we are keeping him in a remand home, even then there also we can start his treatment, and asking why is also a treatment. Working with this person, talking nicely. हो सकता है जैसे कुछ लोग होते हैं ना एंटी सोशल पर्सनालिटी जिनकी होती है, those who are not feeling any remorse and anything, तो हम बहुत हेल्प नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन ट्राई तो कर सकते हैं ना, सिर्फ अज्यूम करके तो नहीं चल सकते. होगा क्राइम सीरियस, लेकिन रीजन क्या था वो तो ढूंढे कि just because of the act we will just send them to the punishment and then we will forget about them. Why would we do that? Yeah, I think, ma'am, even Sri Lakshmi says that the Indian juvenile justice system addresses this thing to an extent. So I think it's true. I mean, whenever it comes to punishing or maybe rehabilitation of such child offenders, we usually take into the consideration what was the intention or the motivation of the child, whether the child was actively involved or not. Okay. Yeah. All right. I think we can take up the last question from Kavisha Gupta. Kavisha, do we have you here? Okay, I think she. Okay, can we have Shri Pratap Singh?
मैम एक्चुअली मुझे ये पूछना था कि क्या रिफॉर्म लाने चाहिए, मतलब इंडिया जैसी कंट्री में जो डेवलपिंग कंट्री है
उसमें क्या रिफॉर्म्स आने चाहिए. आपकी अगर आप अभी भी बोल रहे हैं तो आपकी आवाज गायब हो गई है. क्या रिफॉर्म्स आने चाहिए, मुझे लगता है कि अगर हमारा लीगल सिस्टम या हमारे इनफैक्ट लॉ जो पढ़ रहे हैं जो स्टूडेंट्स, अगर वो ट्रॉमा इन्फॉर्म हो जाएंगे तो वो खुद रिफॉर्म्स लेकर आ जाएंगे. मुझे लगता है हम सबको साइकोलॉजी पढ़ना चाहिए स्कूल एज से, और लॉ स्कूल में तो और भी अच्छे से फॉरेंसिक साइकोलॉजी पढ़ लो एटलीस्ट, एंड देन you would know where to bring the reforms. Yeah, there's a lot of yeah, first of all defining how you define mental health and its issues. Reform in the education system, reform in the education and legal system, which can go hand in hand. I mean, professional way and the learning time.
That's right. In fact, court practices जो होती हैं ना, उसमें भी हम change ला सकते हैं. Like we can always have a perspective of a psychologist, mental health professional, and what punishment to apply and how to decide कि punishment देना है नहीं देना कितना देना है वगैरह. So in some cases it is necessary, I guess.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. So I think the other doubts due to time constraint we can take up in the feedback forms, and we can conclude the session. So it has been absolutely amazing to see how involved everyone was in the discussion, honestly. And we believe that this discussion has been very fruitful. And hereby, I would like to call upon Ms. Nupur, the President of MPJRC, to present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Tanishka. So to begin with, I'd just like to thank ma'am, because the way she began the thing, like when we were marketing the topics for this webinar, we were quite skeptical about choosing mental health, and that too from a socio-legal perspective, because the ambit is quite wide. We were not sure about what all aspects we'll cover in this webinar. But I'm really glad to see how this webinar went and how ma'am underlined every nitty-gritty. She dealt with every nuances of the theme in such a graceful manner, I would say. And I'm really glad to host ma'am today from the council side. In addition to that, I would like to thank the huge number of participants and audience who were so much indulged during this webinar. They actively engaged themselves via chat box. They switched on their cameras. They unmuted themselves and asked questions from ma'am. And hopefully they got their answers as well. So big thanks to you all as well. Additionally, I would like to thank the President and the Vice President of NJRC, Ms. Devanshi Parashar and Ms. Madhya, for believing in Madhya Pradesh Judicial Reforms Council for conduction of its first ever webinar. This is the first ever event of Madhya Pradesh Judicial Reforms Council since its inception. And we are really glad that it went with so much grace. In addition to that, I would like to thank Ms. Anvesha Chaturvedi. She is the mentor of Madhya Pradesh Judicial Reforms Council, and has been a constant guide who made us improve each passing day. Additionally, I would also like to thank the promoters of this event, which includes Success Board, Law Octopus, who played a very great role in reaching out to such a wide base of audiences. It would not have been possible without their constant support and collaborative efforts. Last but not the least, my council members, Anisha, Arvinder, Hansika, Pratyaksha, Rashmi, for actively indulging themselves during this webinar, and they were right there for this registration thing, for designing thing, for drafting messages, for their constant involvement in making this event a great success. So kudos to all. And thank you so much, ma'am, and everyone for being there for this amazing report.
Thank you so much, Nupur.
And thank you for choosing me for your first webinar.
We are equally thankful. I believe this is the time to conclude the event. Mental health is very important, and we firmly believe the nexus of mental health in legal world is integral in establishment of a strong society. It was really great to have all of you with us. Thank you so much. MPJRC is really obliged for everyone's presence. We hope that all of you keep supporting the council, and with a hope to see all of you in the near future. This is the Vice President of Madhya Pradesh Judicial Reforms Council signing off for the time being. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Also, here is one note for all the participants, that the feedback form is circulated here in the chat box and also in the YouTube live. You all are requested to kindly fill this feedback form so that we can issue the certificates. And if you have any further doubts, you can mail all of them on the council's mail ID. Thank you so much.